I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, no, I've done it wrong around. I've gone an hour over and I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his ass.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona,
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. I'm Craig Savage, and with me as always is Daniel Cody and Charlie Betts. So, how's your week been, guys? Charlie, you sound very poorly.
I was off for a few days with the flu. I haven't actually been able to string a week together for a while because I was off one day and then I cut my head open as we discussed.
Yes, and it was snow.
Oh, the trauma! I was essentially part-time. No, I didn't.
Yeah, worse than me.
If I'm being brutally honest, my wife is doing a production of Oliver Twist at work because she's a teacher as well, and I spent half my week trying to sort out Be Back Soon and Food Glorious Food into some sort of
Food
short
Glorious
by the way. But it is, yeah. But on the topic of food, while we segue there.
Segue.
Really quick thing.
There's a storm brewing in this podcast area of the Honest Football Podcast. So something happened on Saturday where somebody here has tweeted about the new Big Mac with bacon or without bacon.
They voted on the McDonald's poll.
Yeah, basically.
Whether it was a Big Mac with bacon or without bacon.
Yeah.
Which is besides the point of this.
At
this
point.
time.
No,
This has been a 6-day long...
And well, basically, you spotted it, Craig.
I spotted it.
3 minutes
on
after it was tweeted.
my own Twitter at CraigSavage89, just for let you know.
That is the cheapest plug. That is the
Can't go wrong with
cheapest
cheap plug, people.
Oh, that was unnecessary.
Yes, it was.
But no, the point being is that you spotted it, and then between the three of us, none of us admitted to actually tweeting it.
Well, I said, what the hell is this about? Seen it on my timeline.
But we do need to give a slight backstory, Craig, that you do have a slight history for this over a different issue where you tweeted or voted on something on Twitter.
Related to your own club.
Yeah,
but then you
on
blamed...
on the Honest Football Podcast at Honest Football 3.
But then
Can you stop just... This isn't about naming Twitter handles.
Yeah,
but then you blamed...
knows where we are.
You blamed Dan for it. Is that essentially what happened?
For 4 days. And
I'm
then
still blaming him on YouTube because
And then you
I
admitted
spotted it and what for
the Crawley one, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was me. Yeah, I don't mind
After
that.
blaming me for 4 days.
Yeah,
as a secret
absolutely.
So if there's
He
ever a
deserves
time
it.
to come clean, now is the time to do it.
Well,
lads. As in, who
okay.
tweeted about Big Mac? I mean,
Okay.
I think it would be a Big Mac with bacon.
We need
so
a bit-
the
we
vote
need a
went
bit-
the opposite direction.
I was about to say we need a bit more backstory. Myself and Charlie both have committed to disagreeing with the vote that was taken. Craig has been non-committal so far. And we also have the situation, Craig, where as well as your history for this, you know, you have been a little bit underhanded in recent week morally. We've had that discussion before. And I think it would just be time to come clean. Myself and Charlie, we don't have any sort of reason to hide it. I talk about food in this intro most weeks. I'd be happy to admit it, and I'd be happy to have a 20-minute chat about the Big Mac now. But, you know, I just don't see the point in hiding it anymore.
So Craig, was it you? Yes or no?
No,
It wasn't you.
it was not me.
Well, we're going to get no closer to an answer now.
I think we
I
might.
spotted it. It's like when you fire, you smelt it, you dealt with it. It's not like that. I saw it and I questioned it.
I can't
for
deal
you
with
two.
another week because I was quite mischievous. It was actually me. And
Oh, I knew it!
No!
I knew it!
I can't be honest.
I knew it!
I was initially just going to admit it, but the fallout, the way. So I tweeted it.
Myself and Craig are very quick to turn on each other. It would be fair to say
So
that.
you both were just firing at each other straight away. So I was like, this is actually quite funny because you two were just caning each other for 6 days. And I thought I'll hold out until tonight.
Can I ask you a question then on the back of that? Why did you vote for an answer you disagree with?
Because I thought if I did that, it would cause me... Actually, no, I don't know, to be honest. Because I had no ulterior motive. I literally just did it because I thought... And initially I thought, no, it shouldn't have a bit of bacon in there.
So you've had a change of heart in the 6 days since.
Well,
you've seen it retweeted so many times.
And also,
stirred
if
the
I'm
pot.
honest, you said you liked the one with bacon, so I thought this is a good opportunity for me to use this as a cover-up and go, yeah, no, I think it'd be good with bacon as well. So, no, it was me, and I don't apologise because it amused me while I was off work for 3 days. If I'm honest, if I wasn't ill off work,
Well,
I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be admitted it.
There's one positive to come from this.
He's learned from my factor of morals and gamesmanship.
So you've brought him to the dark side.
I didn't bring him to the dark side. He knew.
Either way, it's now creating another air of mystery in the group.
And we're in the perfect position now where I can do whatever the fuck I want in the future, and you two are the two of history, so I'm covered for life.
And now it's time for Ramble of the Week.
Well, lads, I'd like to start off this week, and I want to talk about a 1 year anniversary.
1 year anniversary?
A 1 year anniversary.
Did Brother Stag do 1 year ago around this time?
No, not that, I can assure you.
Okay.
What I wanted to talk about is modern technology and Portugal, okay? So we all know about the impending invasion, let's call it, of VAR in the English game.
Yeah.
We've seen it in recent FA Cup ties in the Premier League grounds. But I wanted to talk about a bit about his introduction and some of the teething problems it's experienced. So 1 year ago this week, there was a cup tie involving Boa Vista in Portugal.
Yeah.
And over there, they had a bit of a situation where they'd conceded what was a quite clearly, obviously offside goal. You could see it from the naked eye, but they went to VAR to see the replay. And because of the way they'd positioned the cameras initially and the issues they hadn't foreseen, what the VAR officials saw when they were looking from the studio was a massive Boa Vista flag waving from side to side across the camera. And they couldn't disallow the goal because they couldn't see it and they couldn't get enough of a picture at the right time. So it was just one of my favourite moments, and I'm sure they would have solved those problems by now. And that's probably why it didn't come into the Premier League and the FA Cup a year earlier.
Because of a flag?
Because
in the way?
Because people hadn't thought through what was going to happen and the potential
It was
obstacles.
rushed through a bit, wasn't it, to be honest, I think.
So yeah, I just thought...
What I don't get is VAR was used in the World Cup. I thought he was using the World Cup quite well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is it a shambles in England?
This was 3 months earlier.
Yeah. Why is it shambles in England now?
Well, I don't think it's a shambles necessarily, but... I don't know, the World Cup, there's a lot more... what's the word? It's a lot more concentrated, isn't it? You know, it's one game every day at one point, you know, it's that sort of thing.
I had an alternate theory on that, is that the World Cup, as myself and Charlie have talked about in Mexican wave rants and things like that, is a expression of unity. Fans from two sides coming together, no segregated seating and things like that. Whereas in the Premier League, it's a much more tense atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's all action, it's quick paced. Hang on, let me speak, as you say. What we have in the Premier League is impatience, essentially. So when we see an English game and you're waiting 3 or 4 minutes for a decision and all you've got on the screen is decision pending over and over again, it can cause frustration, tension, problems. In the World Cup, it's just a chance for people to get to know each other, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, could we have something as a podcast? Could we propose something to put on the screen or for people to do right here, right now, while the decision pending is on the screen? Model.
Boggle.
Oh, Boggle. We said model. That's how different ball game now. Right. Okay, Boggle.
Nice to know how your mind works.
Kiss cam.
Kiss cam.
He loves the American
I don't think you're going to get that in the away end at living Crystal Palace or something. So,
Old fat man, you never know, from Newcastle, you cannot go wrong.
How about an animated Big Mac?
On a serious note, I do...
We're baking them without bacon.
We might as well make it an advertisement.
No, I do agree with you though. I think it does. Yeah, I don't know what I don't agree with you.
I
was about to say something.
I've just told you something that happened a year ago. You don't have to agree.
Going back to his theory.
Was it the Boggle?
Yeah, the Boggle. That's it. Sorry, yeah. We should
going back to his theory of bringing everyone together. That's got nothing to do with VAR. What's that got to do with VAR?
No, I'm saying that it caused more tension in the Premier League because people aren't focused on getting to know each other.
But what's that got to do with VAR?
Because in the World Cup, people weren't as impatient. They were saying,
you were trying to distract them doing Mexican fucking waves.
Well, exactly, so they're not focusing on how long it's taken to get a VAR decision.
If we know the referee's going to go to VAR, we want to see the screen. I want to know what the hell's happening.
But the lines aren't straight, it doesn't matter.
I mean, the story was about an anniversary of it. Let's move on.
Happy anniversary to the Boa Vista flag.
Well, a very unhappy anniversary as it turns out now.
Did they win the game though?
I don't know actually, I didn't even check that.
Oh.
I want to talk about one man, ex-Premier League player admittedly, and I know this isn't a Premier League podcast, but he's had such an incredible couple of years, and that is Mr. Thomas Repka, who, I don't know if you remember before I mentioned, was an
very carefully.
Absolute nutter. No, I won't do the first. Well, he's been arrested twice in the last 18 months.
Yes, he did.
The first one is to do with his wife, and I can't really go into too much detail, but he was very annoyed at her, and he basically put her number on a certain site that you wouldn't want you put your wife's number on. And then she got subsequent... But he's actually been arrested recently now, this week, and he's got 15 months in jail for fraud because he hired a car and then sold the car to someone else, which I just think, how on earth do you get yourself in that situation?
But say that again, he hired
a car.
Hired a car.
And obviously, it's not your car, is it?
It's a rental car.
But he then sold the car that he'd hired to someone, pretending it was his car.
Oh, God.
So now he's got 15 months in jail, and I just think, given the year that he had before, and I implore you to Google what he did with his wife, because I can't talk about it here, but it is quite interesting.
Not
that
good.
coupled with then not actually having a car and selling it when it's not even your car, I think it's just baffling.
It seems like a bit of a mindless crime to me in both instances, but particularly the second one with the car is How do you think you're getting away with that? You hire a car for 7 days or whatever. You've got at most 5 days of freedom there.
Well, the whole Thomas Rocker story actually reminded me of his time at West Ham, and I don't know if you remember his first 3 games.
He got sent off in his first.
So in his first game, he got sent off.
I remember this. Yeah.
Served his suspension. Then in the game that he come back, he got sent off again within a matter of 3 matches. Then he had the worst. He had 10 yellow cards in 1 season, which is still a record.
He was sweeping up for Christian Daly.
He was sweeping up for Christian Daly. Yeah, in fairness. But yeah, and then he got relegated. So what a year that was.
And then he left.
Yeah, he did.
West Ham fans regard him highly, yet Lionel Scaloni isn't.
The game's all about character, isn't it?
Well, Lionel Scaloni is a character.
Let's say things have gone a bit negatively on the character side since, but at the time it just seemed like a bit of harmless fun.
Which I think is quite fun. Anyway, move it on from there.
I'm going to go to Scotland, and obviously it was. We know where this is going. Rangers beat Aberdeen 4-2.
Yeah.
Was it 4-2? Yeah, 4-2.
Yeah, they did.
4-2.
Which
is a great game.
Dan wants to segue.
Quick side note. Charlie Betts watched this
by
an illegal stream.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Rather than watching the magical FA Cup competition, which was also a brilliant game on BBC One.
Was it really?
It wasn't. I mean,
sorry. Another side note on that, and I'm sorry for stealing your bit because this infuriated me. It's just reminded me.
Here we go.
At the start of extra time. In fact, 1 minute and 57 seconds into extra time, BBC One changed the coverage to BBC Two.
Well, you know that.
Will someone explain that?
All right. The game started at 8:05, which is very random time.
Instead of starting at that quarter to 8, or
it's an FA Cup replay. You know, there's a fucking risk, don't you? This game might go to extra time. What happens if it's a draw? I don't know.
I've done a bit of research and I found out why.
Okay.
BBC News.
It's a BBC News, exactly.
But that's happened before, and they've moved the news to BBC Two.
But because what's very important right now in the world of Britain is Brexit.
Well, either way, I think it was quite an embarrassing sort of situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. It should stay on BBC. Why not do it
before extra time kicked off?
And do you know what's more important to me than Brexit? Is the exit of West Bromwich Albion from the FA Cup.
Oh no.
That's awful.
God. Right, back to Scotland.
Go on, yeah.
That was terrible.
More enjoyable.
It was a cracking game.
Cracking game of football.
Aberdeen, I've got to say.
Alfredo Morelos got sent off for the 4th time this season.
Out of all of them, I would say the harshest one, to be honest.
Really? I think it was a red card.
You watch the replay in slow motion, it looks bad.
I think it's a red card. Both players, red card.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, his foot's up there. I think a bit of common sense had to be used. I was actually listening to another Scottish football podcast during the week, and they were saying... No, but they were saying...
Is it the crappy half-half podcast?
It's in the media a lot up there at the minute. The standard of refereeing is not...
Well, they're amateurs.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing.
It's not good.
Why don't they give back some of their professional wages to make the referees professional?
Yeah,
stop fucking moaning. Give them the same chance.
That is found abusive language, by the way. Just calm it down. Thanks, mate.
Personally, I don't think it was a sending off. I think maybe if it had been another player doing that, I'm not saying he's. The other 3 were definitely sendings off, but has he had his card marked by his own actions, admittedly? But I personally think it was it wasn't a sending off.
Coach, opinion, red card or not red card?
Well, I was more worried about his diving exploits in the previous week.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was Defoe.
No, Defoe was in.
No, Morelos has done one as well.
Yeah.
Haven't you?
The point being is that I think it was a cracking game of football.
But for the red card, I thought it was a red card.
Yeah, he's a good player. He is a good player.
I can understand why the Rangers are getting annoyed by this because obviously they're instigating. Obviously, he's their best player.
Well, he scored 2, didn't he?
Yeah, he's their best player, and people wound him up. People wound him up just to cause a reaction.
Yeah, but that's part and parcel of the game.
Yeah, it's part and parcel of the game.
If you behave like an idiot, you're going to get that.
You're not helping yourself by planting your footwear in the privates.
Let's move on. You mentioned West Brom a minute ago. I don't know. Did you see this week that their game against Leeds? West Brom players are going to pay for the fans' travel up to Leeds to watch the game. So the tickets are priced at £39, which is, I believe, quite high for even the Championship for an away fan.
Well, it's because in the Premier League there's a £30 price cap, and in the Championship there's no cap, so it's often more.
So
I've got that to look forward to next year.
And part of the reason they've done it as well is it's on a Friday night, and obviously the travelling to and from on a Friday evening is a bit.
So charge £40 on a Friday night.
That's shocking, isn't it? But I will say it's a nice gesture from the players to pay for the buses to go up there. So I think,
they all turned up Wednesday night to watch Brighton, didn't they? Against Brighton. So,
I mean, that's a bit hard.
Speaking of Leeds, the EFL made a statement today about the Spygate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it, really?
Alright, here's what they said. Following a comprehensive review of all available evidence, it was determined that there remain a number of areas that require further exploration and clarification, and these investigations will take place at the earliest opportunity. Right. This happened a month ago. Why is it taking so long?
I think we've said before that comprehensive means last minute, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's happened is they said, we've done a comprehensive review and we found out we need to do a comprehensive review. It's bollocks. We've just quickly addressed it and decided, oh shit, we haven't done anything, we better find out.
Do you know why they're making this? Because the EFL had a meeting, all the chairmen and owners of the EFL clubs all had a meeting for the last 2 days, and obviously Spygate was discussed quite heavily. So obviously now the EFL, as you said, rushed it to bring a quick statement out to say we're still investigating.
But
2 points. Football isn't politics, and secondly, I found a way around this. Right, instead of taking people, which is obviously an offence to be spying, right? Every time you want to go and watch a team, hide a gnome in a bush with a camera on it.
No, just for me, just to finish this off. I don't actually know. I mean, what is that about? That's just a waste of airtime. For me, though, on a serious note, what are they going to do, even retrospectively? Do they give them a points deduction?
Well,
but how? Like, what games did you? Let's just say, right? They made a mistake. Won't do it again. Just draw a line. Just forget about it. I don't honestly know why there needs to be this punishment and all that going with it. Everyone knows you can't.
It's not against the laws.
Well, that's it.
What can they do?
Because there's no rule actually for
it.
So you can't actually
rules
break
are rules.
rule.
They're not rules, aren't they? You can't punish someone if it's not a rule.
I think if they get a point deduction, so that's a bit harsh. If they get a points deduction, I think that could really ruin a very exciting championship promotion.
Well, the EFL have got a history for 30-point deductions.
Yes, they do.
I want to touch on a more slightly sensitive, but I think a bit more of a feel-good. Well, I say feel-good story. Joe Thompson, Rochdale's Joe Thompson.
I knew I forgot.
He's unfortunately had to retire this week, hasn't he? Because his body's not up to it. But beat cancer twice, and then did he score his debut? When he returned. Sorry, returned. Unbelievable story and such an inspiration. I think obviously it's a shame that, given what's happened, that maybe his body, I think he said himself, his body's just not up to playing at that level of football. But what a career to have, and what an inspiration to people of that.
Big respect.
Massive respect for Joe Thompson. Cody?
Let's move on a bit. I was going to talk about the FA Cup, but I want to go back to one of my pre-season predictions from non-league, because it's all going very strangely at Wrexham.
Yeah, Mike Newell went, didn't he?
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
The manager who took over...
I didn't know Graham Barrow left, sorry.
Yeah, so Sam Ricketts had left the club in December, obviously, to go to Shrewsbury, and Graham Barrow took over. Mm-hmm. Mike Newell then came in as his assistant on the 19th of December on a 2.5-year deal till summer 2021. And yesterday, the 7th of February, after 6.5 weeks, he left the club by mutual consent because the manager had left and the new management, who incidentally is former player and legend Brian Hughes, who's played in the Premier League, Charlton, so a really good player, hasn't got much coaching experience. I think he said he'd been a coach down at Scarborough and in an academy, an international soccer academy, so he hasn't got too much experience, but we've seen managers before.
Sorry, why did Graham Barrow leave again? Do they know why? Because they're not in a worse position, are they, Wrexham?
No, they're 4 points off the top. They're 5th place, but they're only 4 points off the top. So it seems a bit of a strange one. But yeah, he resigned. It wasn't a mutual consent or a sack or anything. He chose to leave. So I don't know what the reasons for it are. But Mike Newell, what a payoff he's going to get for 6 weeks.
I was going to say, he's probably not your favourite person, is he?
Probably in a pub. Speaking of former Luton managers, Richard Money, former manager, he left Hartlepool, so he started off there as a manager.
We talked about him switching, didn't we? A couple of
switching to be director, and now he's already left the club.
So what?
The crazy world of football.
Why did he need to do that switch with Craig? Was it Craig
Hignett?
Why didn't they just appoint Craig Hignett manager and Richard Money say I'm leaving? Because he clearly wasn't ever going to be the director.
Why hire him to start with?
Phase stacking or whatever. There'll probably be some sort of financial package / implication for him.
He didn't want to take the pay cut for not being a manager anymore.
Exactly.
And off you go. We'll pay you whole wage for no work.
Really, really quick one. Did you see who has also joined Sol Campbell at Macclesfield Town's coaching staff?
Andy Cole.
Andy Cole's already there. No, he's brought someone else in this week. Bermudan legend Sean Goater.
No!
Honestly, true story. Sean Goater's gone there as
if these strikers aren't firing soon, I'll tell you.
As a part-time coach, admittedly, but still, feed the goat and he will score.
You got Sol Campbell in defence, you got Andy Cole and Sean Goater being your striker. Right. Speaking of League 2, obviously Macclesfield and former Manchester United players, Paul Scholes looks set to be the older manager after EFL. Here we go. This will be the one. After the EFL have given the clearance for it. EFL rules prevent a person holding roles with 2 clubs at the same time without
Did you hear that
consent.
that prevents them from holding roles at 2 clubs at the same time.
Right, so
Carry on.
Paul Scholes apparently has got a background role at Salford.
No, he's got a role at Salford. Apparently, it's a background role.
Right.
Which is why he does all the documentaries about how the club's going to move forward with his vision in the future and the last night too.
Okay, calm down.
So angry about this.
But right. So another rule has been set in place that Oldham players Oldham can't buy anyone from Salford.
Nor can they sell.
Nor can they sell or loan to Salford. So it makes
which is even more angering for me.
Why is it angering for you?
Here's my question. Right, the part 1 of the statement says we have declared that because he only has a background role, there's no conflict in interest. Okay, so I'm not worried about any point. I think it's brilliant that a brilliant English legend like Sol Campbell, we said with Macclesfield, is getting a chance and he's happy to go lower down the pyramid to take it, which just shows there's opportunities for everyone. Hopefully, what I want to address is if there's no conflict in interest, why does there need to be a rule on what happens with Salford? Genuinely.
No,
if they're saying that the Salford rule causes no conflict of interest at all, why can they not buy and sell freely from another football club if that's all it is? What's the issue? Because surely if you're saying, well, you can't buy, sell or loan players from that club, you're saying because there's a potential conflict in interest, aren't you? What other reason is there for saying you can't?
It does. There is a certain there's a certain odour about the whole situation. No, but it does seem.
Sorry about that.
There's certain bit of stagnation in the
No, but it does.
Don't you stagnate again.
Or regenerate it.
It does reek a little bit of. Yeah, just saying.
Could someone answer my question?
I can't do it. No.
If there is no conflict in interest, why can they not do it? There's no conflict. What's it matter?
Because there
surely
could be
that treats them the same as any other club.
You never know. There could be some small deals, obviously that minor deals that can happen in there.
But there's no conflict in interest, so that's the same as any other club. He could go to Altrincham, who are local, and say, well, we want to nick one of your players. It's no different because he has no role at Salford according to them that conflicts. I don't understand. Part 2 of the statement completely contradicts part 1. I have no problem with the thing you thought I was, which was them saying there's no conflict in interest. I agree with that. There isn't a conflict in interest, but why then put the rules on it? Does my head in. Move on.
Have you
right, let's go to France. Let's line up a little. So you mentioned recently about Wingate and Finchley having a team that's
the AIs.
So
I saw this. It's brilliant.
So what was the club you said before?
Was this the Football Manager one?
Sort of. So basically, it's a French club, Avant-Garde Cannes, I think.
Yes, I've seen this.
Or AG Cannes, I don't know. So they're in the 6th tier of French football, but they're controlled by people using an app. And the more you put in, more sort of more times you vote and do all this sort of stuff, you build up a bit more of a profile, and the more bigger your reputation, the more influential decisions have. And up to 2,000 people per game can vote. So will tend to vote on who should come on next. All of this, but the French authorities want to outlaw it and ban it. And they're not, don't want it to happen anymore. And obviously the club themselves are quite upset about that, as you probably would be, because I think they make a fair amount of money off of the downloading of the app.
Well, I mean, I'm only assuming here, but I'd imagine most 6th tier French sides don't have 2,000 people making an input.
Well, you don't have to beat the game. That's the thing. So it's become a bit of a social media.
I just mean having an input.
Oh right, yeah. So what they do, the more you obviously put in there, the more if you download the app, put a bit of money in there to support this, that, and the other, you get more of a say. And the manager used to be the manager before all this started. He's been there for like 6 years. And he's Julien Le Pen, and now he's having to basically submit to all these other people who you could argue don't know a clue.
That's not right, really.
Well, no, it's a slightly interesting.
Well, Craig, you're a granddad of football, so you'd never agree with that. We're going to get to the stage.
I don't mind it. I'm just saying, like for example, if you on Load FM, you'd be like, right, I've now got 2,000 to pick my own team. You're not actually managing the team then. So what's the point?
Right, but they've offered that opportunity. If you don't like it, don't be the manager.
Well, don't do it then.
Go to another club.
What they are saying is revolutionary compared to other teams in that league to support the app. Obviously, if people can't go to the game,
it's great.
They've got like GPS data, all these Opta stats, which in the 6th tier of French football is unheard of.
Brilliant.
So there is an element of that of giving maybe players of a poorer standard. More of a more professional.
We do have to be careful with things like this, but you do have to praise innovation, even if it's probably the game's not ready for it yet. But you do have to praise the idea of it, and people thinking outside the box.
I agree with that. I agree with that. It's just obviously if the authorities want to ban it, then it's not. Obviously, they're trying to level out the competition. Obviously,
but I mean, it's not an advantage. If anything, surely it's more difficult to have 2,000 people to agree on a decision. I don't know if it's an advantage.
Well, how they getting on
first
the league?
past the post, isn't it?
How they getting on the league?
I haven't actually got that information. It doesn't say they won it. I mean, there's 6 tier of French football, so I can't imagine it's going swimmingly. So
your notes are as strong as always.
Was it from the BBC website?
I'm not divulging that.
No.
Luton Town this week, obviously,
Yes.
played Shrewsbury, and there was a really nice story about Stewart, but I probably think
Oh
he's
yeah,
more qualified to talk about that.
Do you want to start? I'm happy to.
The guy that obviously well, wasn't there. But yeah, no.
Well, thanks for that info.
So every time Luton Town scored, obviously Luton won the game 3-0 at Shrewsbury. But every time Luton scored, obviously the steward helped the Luton fan up, made them celebrate just as much as a normal fan would.
Yeah, so
which was great to see. And Shrewsbury named the steward man of the match for the game.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
That's a very nice touch. Obviously, the guy that the Luton fan is a flogger, so he does do
what? Sorry,
a flogger. So he does go
Flog.
Vlog.
V. Guys are whipping people.
Oh god, no!
I
thought was absolutely fantastic, and well done to Shrewsbury. And I think it's caught on mainstream, which I think.
Well done to the reaction for Luton fans as well. A lot of support from this week, and I just wanted to say on this matter, it's so often that we say football's for everyone, and helping with disabled supporters, people with physical disabilities, things like that. It's really great to help inclusion in the game, and I just thought it was such a lovely story.
Yeah.
And he got all the credit he deserved.
The steward said it's just a normal thing to do, which I thought was absolutely excellent.
Brilliant. Didn't want any credit for it, which is great.
Speaking of Luton, obviously Euro 2020 is next year.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it's around Europe in the host cities.
Decision, but
in host cities of Dublin, London, Amsterdam.
When they say host, I mean London's got 3.
London's got most of it, to be fair. The semi-finals and the final, but Luton's training ground, and obviously Luton Hoo, which is a very nice old place. I couldn't think of the word.
Stately home.
Stately home. Nice hotel and spa. Not sure on the golf course, but anyway, moving on. It's been selected to be one.
Talk about wasting airtime.
It's been selected to be the training base, and obviously for teams.
It's been recommended.
It's been highly recommended. So,
it makes sense. I mean, it's brand new facility. It's got all the latest stuff. No bar at the training ground, which is probably a plus. And
obviously for.
So not got a bar?
No.
That's always been my issue with Craig's team playing out of there.
But what about the bar upstairs? Not there?
Oh no, but you can't get to there. They cut the bridge off.
I'm sorry, but when it comes to the official Euro 20, if someone's training there, they'll have access to the bar and it'll be closed off, don't you worry. I wanted to do a little segue from that. From Euro 2020 to the 2030 World Cup.
I saw this. This is a brilliant idea, this. If it comes off.
Yes, go on. Faye.
Are you aware?
I don't know what you're talking about. I know it's going to be trying to get a British bid. But,
yes, so the UK and Ireland are discussing a joint 5-way possible bid. And it would be lovely. We would love it, obviously. As
football was coming home.
Well, it's coming home in terms of the tournament. The trophy won't be. Most importantly, once they've gathered and hopefully arranged this, there is a slight sticking point, which goes back to your political statement from earlier about Brexit, which is the Republic of Ireland. Obviously, by then it may be required to have a visa to travel from the UK, which could cause a bit of trouble for delegates and things like that.
Trouble regardless of Brexit. Fuck Brexit.
Unfortunately, it seems like politics is going to hold up a football bid that could be brilliant for our generation.
Do you know why they sort of been inclined to do this? Because apparently, from the 2026 World Cup, they're only going to look at stadiums that have a minimum of 40,000 seat capacity.
But here's the catch:
that's for group games as well. 60 for the semis, 80 for the finals.
But the thing is,
we're one of the only countries.
What I saw weirdly was there had to be a certain distance from stadiums like Anfield, Old Trafford, and another one that's quite high. I can't remember what it was. But it has to have like a certain distance from the crowd, so like photographers can get round and that. But I thought. But you got Old Trafford, which is a 76,000 stadium. Your Anfield's at 51,000.
And
but it's about bringing it to everyone in the community.
And also access. You can't, because then everyone will be flooding into Manchester Airport, whereas if you have it in different parts of the country, it spaces out the travel.
There are plenty of options. I mean, Newcastle in the North East is open.
Cardiff
is huge.
But then again, how many London grounds are going to be
but if you think the UK, I mean, you've got... I don't think it'll be any in
Murrayfield, Celtic.
Well, they're trying to get a new... Well, I did read they're trying to expand... Well, either get a new stadium in Belfast, or...
They've just redone it, so unless they're expanding upwards, I can't imagine. They've literally just rebuilt it. But yeah, so you've got Hamden Park.
It won't be Hamden Park, it'll be Murrayfield or Celtic Park. Bigger, aren't they?
Probably Celtic Park.
I think Murrayfield.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's... I mean, to be honest, compared to... Yeah, nowadays...
Let's be honest. In terms of our politicians, they're bad at politics, so we won't win the bid anyway.
No, we'll fuck it up like Brexit.
We haven't got enough money for the bribes.
I just feel like, especially... I mean, we'd be priced out of it. It won't be like it was in Euro 96 where you could go to grounds and get a better chance of getting a ticket. Nowadays, it's so elite.
Starting at 80,
it won't be like same thing.
Which only Craig can afford.
Yeah.
What? Anyway, moving on.
Can I do one really quick?
can do
I'm
one.
going to put this out for a slight, very small discussion actually. So we've talked about Ireland. So going to Northern Ireland. So Institute, who have just been promoted from the league below in Northern Ireland, in the Northern Irish Premier, their captain, Michael McCrudden, has signed a pre-contract agreement with Derry. And obviously Derry playing the Irish League, is in the League of Ireland, in the south, and their season's over the summer. In a nutshell, he wanted to get the move to go through in January, so he's now refusing, even though he's still contracted at Institute, to play for them for the rest of the season, because his contract there runs out in June, and then he goes to Derry, but he's going to miss half the season. Because they didn't force the move through in January, he's literally down in tools, but he's their top goal scorer with 19 goals, streets ahead of the rest of his team, and now he's just down in tools, which I'm not saying is right, but you'd maybe hear that in the Premier League in England or whatever. But at that level of football, semi-professional, the players getting paid only a few £100 a game or whatever, which I know only a few, but is that where football is now? That even at that level of the game,
it's just copying the elite level, isn't it?
Exactly.
We saw a brilliant contrast to that actually. Jordan Jones with Kilmarnock, where he scored against Rangers despite the deal being agreed to go through in the summer, which I thought was great.
Yeah, but I just think at that level, at part-time football, to basically refuse to play. And the thing is, I'm not saying they'll go. I mean, the league they probably won't go down because two other teams are so much worse than them. But
even though both of you predicted it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hold my hands up to that. But the point being is that at that level of football, is that where we are now, where players will actually stop playing just because they can get
and getting your way at all costs, isn't it?
It's sulking and crying like a bitch.
But
just get on with it, do your job.
Especially when you're an integral part. I mean, leading goal scorer, 19 goals already.
If we if it was our job and refusing to do work, we obviously would get.
But that's the point. It's not his job. To a point, if he was a professional footballer and you go on a strike or whatever, I'm not saying I agree with it, but he's a part-time footballer. He holds down a job. It's just it's like
still got a contract.
It'd be like someone at Crawley doing it, but obviously they're paid a lot more money. Well, I don't know if they are paid a lot more money actually compared to Crawley, but
Do you know what I don't understand at that level is why doesn't he just cancel his contract and go now?
Because I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but because it's something to do politically. If you play in the north and you're contracted there, you can't play in the south unless your contract is done there. But it's to stop people switching, because it's a summer league and obviously a normal league.
But what's to stop you cancelling your contract?
I don't know, unless he buys himself out maybe, because they are quite. They're a bit more than just what you are pay as you play sort of things. They are proper contracts, although albeit part time.
There's a lot of money to buy himself.
But there you go. I don't know. I just thought it was sad at that level of football for that to be going on.
Yeah.
So
do you want to go next?
I'm going to go on to. We haven't really spoke about non-league today. Aylesbury FC, obviously we know their problems. They're going to get relegated. It goes to obviously a changing room debacle. The plan's been submitted by have a community stadium in Aylesbury. So obviously now Aylesbury United can hopefully, if they get through, they can come back into the to the town of Aylesbury. And also Aylesbury FC have merged with another team called Bedgrove Dynamo.
Interesting.
So they're going to be Aylesbury Dynamos.
They're going to be called Aylesbury Vale Dynamos.
I was going to say, it used to be an Aylesbury Vale years ago, didn't it? Oh, okay, right, okay, so that's good then.
Reading their statement, it does say...
You do love a statement today,
well, I like statements. From the beginning of the 2019-2020 season, the two clubs will merge and become Aylesbury Vale Dynamos. This will offer progression for the youth of Aylesbury to achieve their footballing ambitions. Bedgrove currently offer junior football from the under threes. Who does under threes?
Under threes?
Under threes. From the
under
under
threes. Walk the kids.
Under threes.
Give them a chance.
Under threes age group through to Aylesbury and District Senior Men's Football. Aylesbury FC have an under 18 side playing in the Allied Companies Floodlit League and a senior team which next season will compete in the Spartan.
Are you sure that's not a typo? Meant to be under 13s.
Yeah, it's surely not under 3s.
Well, this is from the Aylesbury website, so
I mean that
can't be right.
But they're thinking Aylesbury FC are going to be in the Spartan South Midlands Prem, which I maybe could, depending on the geographical thing, could happen. Everyone in the club is the perfect fit for both clubs apparently. So
that's good.
They're not going to say this is a last resort. It's going to be a fucking disaster.
We've seen other teams merge before and it hasn't worked out, but.
I think that will be the same again.
But Aylesbury, I hope Aylesbury, because obviously all the rubbish they've had this season, I hope they do well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for the area as well, like you said, to have that many teams. I've got two very short, happy stories from Africa, and then I'm out.
Okay,
I've got two very short stories from the FA Cup. So do you want to do the African Chronicles first?
Just African Chronicles, yes. So just really quickly,
that really needs its own theme music.
Yeah, you've got to be careful though. So it is. No, basically football's returned to 2 places. One of them we mentioned recently was Cameroon. They've managed to now resolve the dispute over illegal transactions and all of that, and now football resumed, albeit late, but this weekend just passed in League 1 and 2, so that's good. Football not getting in the way of politics. And something...
Vice versa.
I'm sorry, politics not getting in the way of football. And for the first time in 30 years, a football match was played in Somalia. It was an under-20 match against Eritrea. Given that going too much into the politics of there, which is what goes well beyond football, the fact that it's safe enough to play a football match and everyone had played the game and come out safe is a massive leap forward for them. So hopefully, not expecting the league to start up anytime soon, but you can start to get internationals there. You never know what will happen after that. So it's really good that football, even though a place such as that can still...
It's for everyone, people. Football is for everyone.
I've got 2 very quick stories from the FA Cup. And one that just shows how out of touch elite football is. So,
go for it.
The FA Cup, obviously the most probably well-known one this week is the Newport goalkeeper, Joe Day.
Massive congratulations to him.
Yeah, played in fourth round replay, against Middlesbrough. They won and got through against Manchester City in the 5th round, which was on TV.
Good set-piece play.
Brilliant performance. Absolutely dominated it from start to finish. Don't know why the BBC didn't pick that one.
Did BT pick it?
Yeah.
Don't mind them.
But obviously he ran off after the game because his wife was in labour, found out just before the game and didn't know what was going on.
No.
And by the time he'd arrived, his kids had been born.
They were born. Twins. Yeah, twins. They were born
during the game. So he had no idea, but it all worked out happily. And congratulations to him.
And all the best.
My other quick bit on the FA Cup. Unprecedented, of the 8 5th round ties, 7 are on TV.
6 were on TV.
No, 6 are on TV in English or British TV. The 7th tie, Swansea v Brentford, is live on BBC Wales. However, it's on at exactly the same time as Doncaster Crystal Palace on BBC One.
For fuck's sake. What is the point of that?
Hold on. What time's the kick-off?
4 o'clock Sunday, both of them.
Oh.
Very interesting and didn't quite get it.
Why would you do that? I mean...
Don't get it. And the other thing
you're going to play games at the same time, just do it on a Saturday afternoon at 3 like everyone else.
And from
they
those,
can't do that.
They can't do that, but they could have done it on Saturday.
The principle.
The thing I wanted to moan about, I think it's because Newport are on Saturday perhaps, but the thing I wanted to moan about is BBC again had the first pick, and last time they picked Arsenal Man United.
Yes.
This time they picked Chelsea Man United.
Because that's going to... I know, obviously, FA Cup, we want the underdog to play the Giants, right? No, everyone wants
Newport
that.
Man City.
Yeah.
It would have been Middlesbrough City at worst.
I know, but everyone wants that. But BBC's point of view is they're going to guarantee viewers. They're going to guarantee viewers for Newport Man City, but they're going to guarantee viewers for Chelsea Man United.
The other tie they've picked is Chelsea v Man United reserves. They've also that's what it will be.
No, it won't.
The other tie they've picked is Doncaster Crystal Palace, which happens to be the closest to their Salford base, coincidentally.
Oh, here we go. He's got political again,
bitter.
Go on.
Every week, it's you being bitter about Salford.
Same as you and Rangers.
Shut up.
Same as you and Rangers.
I've got nothing against Rangers. I actually like what Rangers do. I just don't like Morelos.
My final thing, we don't attribute ourselves to those comments. The final thing I wanted to mention was just how out of touch we always say the elite game is with the rest of the world. Liverpool this week have announced a world record profit of £106 million for a financial year.
106?
Obviously included the summer the winter, where they sold Coutinho and bought in Van Dijk for half the price.
And then got to a Champions League final.
So
106 million?
£106 million profit. We talk about the prices of football.
And they're still charging for those stupid black shirts.
75 quid for the 4 shirts, which will probably lead to that profit again next year.
It's alright, they're cracking up anyway, they're not going to win the league. So.
But
I don't get
that's irrelevant at this point. I'm not getting involved in that stuff. I don't care.
You won't get involved with that, but you'll get involved in political stuff.
Don't care who wins the Premier League. But my point was genuinely is how out of touch can you be? We talked about 40 clubs potentially getting demoted because they can't afford to do up the changing rooms for the right size for referees, which CFA are chasing.
And
then we've got 106 million.
I cannot believe.
Fair play to them if they can get it, but it just shows the disparity.
That, I'd love to load the ticket prices. It's just awful.
And we talked about so many times, the amount it costs us Sunday League teams folding because they can't afford to get park pitches, referees not being paid for Saturday League amateur games, and then it just shows the difference. And the grassroots game is gone.
Okay, it is now time for my favourite part of the show, which is to name the matchday squad. In a rather tense affair last week, Dan managed to level it at 4-4 in a game that felt like it went on for a week. Hopefully this won't go on.
Hopefully it didn't feel like that to the viewers.
No, exactly, yeah. So,
great dramatic music, by the way.
The premise of the game is you are going to name a player from each team in a sudden death format until obviously one of you gets it wrong. And it is anyone who played in that game or came on as a sub. If they didn't come on, then that's our tiebreakers, but we're not going to get to that stage today.
No, never.
So we're going back to the 2014 World Cup, that dramatic semi-final in which
I knew it.
Germany beat Brazil 7-1, if you remember.
I do remember. That's probably the most shocking game I've never been so
incredible game of
stunned
football,
in my life.
and I obviously want to know if you can remember who played. I don't know where the fuck I was going with that, but you get the idea.
But yeah,
So
it's the most shocking game of football I've ever seen.
Yeah, incredible.
I think Craig's
Don't
gonna
get
win this.
anyone predicted it.
Okay.
Just so you're aware.
Whose goal is it to go first?
Yours.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm going
Both teams made 3 subs on the day.
I don't think that's
I
going to be
don't think
relevant.
it's
It
really
only
cares.
Luis Felipe Scolari is manager of Brazil and Joachim Low, obviously, of Germany. Right, Dan, off you go.
Let's start with one of the calamitous back two, David Luiz.
David Luiz, yes, he was captain. Can you believe that? He was captain for Brazil.
Because Neymar was... No, you think...
No,
what's his
is
name?
that your final answer?
No.
Please let it be your
The other centre-half was suspended.
Yeah, okay.
Right, I'm going to go with...
I mean, I'm already out.
Matt Hummels.
Matt Hummels, yes. He came
because
off.
he
Didn't get fallen that time.
No, I didn't!
He came off after 46 minutes.
Well, it was a walk in the park for him. Didn't have to do anything.
Philip Lahm.
Philip Lahm, yes, he was captain that day for Germany.
Great
Yes.
player.
Played for Germany.
Manuel Neuer.
Manuel Neuer started in goal for Germany. That's probably Dan out now. If I'm honest.
Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Bastian Schweinsteiger started in midfield. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Now I'm out.
Miroslav Klose.
Yeah, he came off after 58 minutes. I didn't realise he was still playing in that.
Yeah, he scored.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He broke the record.
That was
it.
That was the game.
That was a game. Broke the record.
Oh yeah.
Big
Tell
Ronaldo's
us.
record.
Oh, it's getting touchy now, isn't it? Let's have a think about it. Marcelo.
Yeah, he started left back for Brazil. Yes. Yeah.
Get all the obvious ones out of the way.
Oscar.
Oscar, yes, because he scored in the 90th minute for Brazil.
Like anyone cared.
No, no one did care.
I've got 2 names. Mesut Ozil.
Yes, he started, number 8 that day, yes.
I've got one left, Craig. Go on.
Thomas Müller.
Thomas Müller, yes, started for Germany at right midfield.
I'm going to go for who I think was possibly on the left at some point. Another man who doesn't score many goals, but does for Germany, and that is Lukas Podolski.
Unfortunately, Lukas Podolski was on the bench, but he did not come on that day.
Craig, you got a chance to nick it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, I know you're going to go for.
Do you?
Yeah, go on.
Andre Schürrle.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going to go for.
He came on as a sub after 58
boy!
minutes.
Bang, 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 bang. Who was you going to think I was going to go for?
I thought you were going to go for an obvious one in Brazil, like a Fernandinho or something.
Yeah,
like
I
Yeah,
forgot.
so Fernandinho did play. So that
Should've gone
Craig,
for that one, shouldn't I?
Fernandinho messed up and then...
so that was a rather muted celebration for you there, Craig. 'Cause I think you were not
yeah.
entirely confident yourself in that. So you have taken a 5-4 lead.
5-4 lead where...
I mean, we needed a short one after that ramble about a Big Mac for 10 minutes, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I just want to make one thing clear, that I am winning 5-4. And I remember the start of this, Craig was bragging about, I'm going to...
He was
Well,
3-0.
I noticed that Craig broke a rule in the second episode. I haven't mentioned it, but now I've lost. Can I just bring it up? I'll be submitting a formal complaint to Charlie Mesh during the week.
Okay, really quickly, just whiz through the squads. So for Brazil, you had Julio Cesar, Maicon, David Luiz, Dante, Marcelo, or whatever you say it, I can't fucking say it.
I said it for you.
Luis, Gustavo, Hulk, Oscar, Bernard, and Fred. They started for them, coming off the bench.
Oh, Fred, I forgot about him because Kalari wouldn't play anyone who was 100 times better, would he?
Yeah.
Coming off the bench for Brazil was Paulinho, Ramirez, and Willian. You had quite a lot of subs to pick from Brazil, but I probably just wanted to worth going
Yeah,
through.
let's not go.
Germany, you had Manuel Neuer, Philip Lahm, Jerome Boateng, Mats Hummels, Benedict Howardis.
How it is, yeah.
Howardis, yeah. Sami Khedira, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Thomas Müller, Toni Kroos, Mesut Ozil, Miroslav Klose, and coming off the bench for Germany, Andre Schürrle, Julian Draxler, and Per Mertesacker.
Yep. Germany won, and I won. So ha ha ha.
And there's going to be a lot of paperwork for Charlie in the next week to try and reverse that result and get the fairness back into the game. Hashtag where's the fair?
God.
In fairness, I'm winning. Who cares? Anyway, that is it for today's episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can tweet us at HonestFootball3. And we'll see you next time.